been talking about going to Varanasi, India for over a year now. And last year we planned the trip, all met up in Dubai, but right at that time a big job came up, so we had to postpone it. This year, Ryan, Cale, and I decided it was time to try again. We all met up in New York at my place a couple days early just so we could sit down, discuss everything, and make sure we had all our gear in order.
What's that? We're taking a group photo, we're all together again.
On a trip like this, there's always a certain amount of things that you can plan for, and then there's always the unexpected. So when we're re-going through the schedule, when we're re-going through what exactly we're gonna do, we have an idea generally of what I'm looking for and what Cale has to get for his video to make sense. But there's also, it's important to leave open space and leave room for those unexpected things to happen, because those actually end up making better stories and better photographs and better video. The purpose of this trip is to continue my photo series of holy men from different religions around the world. We're timing the trip with a very important Hindu festival where many sadhus will be gathered in one place. A sadhu is a type of Hindu wandering monk who has renounced all possessions and dedicated their lives to spiritual liberation.
Sadhus are the people who doesn't like to live with the societies because they think they want to do something for the society. They sleep with dogs, they sleep with even a rich man. They see everyone as the same.
साधु का जीवन झूले में होती है, माया में नहीं कि मठ बना ले, मंदिर बना ले। अरे हम अपना कल्याण करेंगे तो देश का कल्याण अपने आप हो जाएगा। हम धर्म के रक्षक हैं। हाँ, वो पंथ नहीं चला रहे हैं, अखाड़ा भी नहीं चला रहे हैं। हमारे सामने जो आएगा, हम लोग समाज सुधारक के साधु हैं और जोगी बना है हमारा।
Always with the divine. They are very close to the divine. In the sense, they feel they are God. So if you are God, you have to be God. God doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't harm anyone. So whoever comes in your way, you see, you give them light in their life. Light not in tube lights or bulbs. It's something like giving them knowledge. If someone has fallen down, felt very unhappy or some distress in his mind, he's really he needs some guidance. So we have to guide them to bring them to light. That's the work of a sadhu.
Here we go.
hour behind schedule, but we're gonna be there soon. I think it's probably like 6 in the morning now.
You look pretty tired.
Yeah, I'm very tired. Slept a bit, but I don't know, after a while these beds aren't that comfortable and you can only sleep for so long.
Hey guys, we're here. How's that?
We're here. We took the 19-hour train ride from New Delhi to Varanasi, and we get out of the train, we drop our stuff off, and right away we go toward the Ganges River.
The sun was just coming up, everyone was around doing their morning rituals. It was really just the perfect time to get there and take in the city for the first time. We've been looking at photos of this, looking at videos of this for the last year, and now we're standing right in the middle of it, taking it all in.
And it doesn't really matter how many times I've seen it before, every time I see it fresh, it still has a huge impact on me. Everything was perfect, and I looked down that view again and I was just speechless. I couldn't really think of anything, like I had nothing to really say, I was just kind of speechless.
It's good to be back.
We just took the day to walk around, see the people, kind of make ourselves known in the area with the people we're going to photograph. It's kind of important to do this just so you don't show up with a camera, a microphone, big light, all that stuff, because I mean it's kind of intimidating to people who aren't too used to that stuff.
So we came across this group of Agoris who were near their cremation grounds and up in an ashram, and we just kind of talked to them, got to know their names, and try to make fools of ourselves.
While we're sitting with the Agori, we look over and notice this weird like concrete ball with a piece of wood sticking out of it.
I guess they weight train because they like to be like Hanuman, who's their guide, who's like the monkey guide, who's big and tough.
The one guy gets up, grabs it, starts doing this strange exercise where he's kind of swinging the weight like around his head. And they tell us, like, come on.
Oh, try this. And I thought they were calling to me, and so I got up.
And they all kind of started laughing. I'm like, no, sit back down.
And I look like an idiot because they're actually calling Ryan because he's the one with the muscles.
Hi. Sorry. No, you sit.
Alright, you're up. Don't hit your head with it.
Yeah. What way do I go? Like this way? No? I don't know how to do it.
Very good.
He's a tough guy, but he cannot get the motion right for the weight, so they're all like laughing at him.
But I mean, obviously I've never done this before, so I'm swinging this weight around like an idiot.
Very good.
It was okay. I just didn't really know how to do it.
Behind you?
Yeah. It's really weird.
Jesus. I mean, Shiva.
And then even when I tried it, I was probably 10 times worse at it. But even though they made fun of us, that's what it's about. Like, that's the reason why we went there, was to get them more comfortable with us.
It's just one of those things that builds a little relationship between us, and so when we come back, they remember us more than they remember some random tourist taking their photo and walking away. So that when we come back to photograph them, it makes things a little bit easier.
One of the more interesting subjects that I photographed on this trip was Mahesh, the Agori sadhu. What made him interesting to me was his backstory. He spoke pretty good English, so he could explain to us his past. But he was a very well-paid engineer. He always felt that there was something missing in his life, And that's why he chose to be an Agori. As you can imagine, in any country, leaving a well-paid job is something that's very looked down upon, and it's very hard to understand why someone would do that to become what he is. But he really, he told me all he wants is just peace and quiet. He just wants to focus, and Agori is the path that he chooses to do that.
My name is Mahesh. I like to stay in Varanasi. So having quite good of money, everything was there with me. I thought, let me have a change in life and find out what is the real truth of living. Money was there. That wasn't. It doesn't mean that you'll get all the happiness together if money is there. There are certain things which you cannot buy with the money. What money can buy, I had brought all the things. Money can buy this camera, money can buy that, this, everything. But there are certain things which you cannot buy money. With money you cannot see God. So I thought, okay, let me see God for just keeping aside money. Then I asked my guru, that's my teacher. He said, see, without your parents' will, you cannot go see God and all like that. First take their permission. Took the permission, left my house, not even taking a single penny, not even a single penny I had in me. Without tickets, I went into the train and came back to Varanasi. And I came up this side and I found it was very quiet, simple, practicing it from almost 10 years, not willing to go back. skull is something to get both sky and the earth together. It's the last thing of the human, right? After that, you can ash is the most last, and before ash is the skull. Any one or the other day, We are all going to become this. Death is something everyone is scared of. All the people are scared of death. One or the other day they are going to die. So when death nears, they start crying. So when you embrace death, welcome death, death will not come to you. Old one has to go for the new one to come. So this death and birth is something, a cycle. So we are like not scared of death. The holy ash is the main thing for an Agori. Holy ash. More or less whatever happens, they don't get scared of anything. And what others can't do, they will do. That's the work of an Agori. Whatever you see in this world is illusion. This illusion will attract you. Some people like eating, some people like women, some people like money, some people like I want to buy big buildings and that, this. It's all illusion, Maya. It's not permanent. It may change. Today we are wearing this, tomorrow it may be not there. Everything will vanish one or the other day. These buildings also may vanish one or the other day. So this is all Maya, illusion.
The difference between our trips and maybe some other people who come here is that we kind of build bonds with a few small groups of people and then stick with them over the weeks that we're here, rather than just kind of traveling around seeing all the sites and then leaving. We kind of build relationships with people, meet up with them every day, kind of grow comfortable with people and build somewhat of a friendship, I would say.
The way that I photograph now is a lot different from when I first started, and this was my third trip to India, and all the other trips before I have basically no pictures that I'm happy with except one, and that was taken of a sadhu called Baba Vijay Nand. It was taken when I was 16 years old, and I photographed him on the Ghats, and I took the picture and I got his address, and I kind of didn't think much of it at the time, and I sent him a 4x6 print to his ashram that he was living at. And I didn't hear from him for years. The second time I went to India, I didn't run across him. But this third time on this trip, I was walking down the Ghats one day, and I just saw him walking by, and I looked at him, and I was like, what? And he looked at me, he kind of recognized me a little bit, and I said, like, are you Baba Vijay Nand? He said, he like started laughing.
और हमारा नाम है बाबा विजयानंद, और 1978 से हम इस साधु बाने में हूँ, अपने गुरु से दीक्षा लेकर के, और अब अपने फैमिली में फर्स्ट साधु स्टार्टिंग में हूँ। आज हमारी गुरु की कृपा है कि हम अच्छे ढंग से जा रहा हूँ।
And he took Mirai and Cale to his ashram. And the first thing he did was pull out his bag, and he goes through his bag and he pulls out a Ziploc bag, and inside there's a few different things, and he pulls out that same 4x6 photograph that I took of him years ago, and he had kept it, and it was all like wrinkled and all creased and messed up, but he still kept that. And me seeing that, I don't know, for a man who doesn't have barely any possessions, that was pretty special for me.
हाँ, यहीं पे यहाँ का भी फोटो ये था हमारे साथ। आप हमसे पहले भी मिला है, 3 साल पहले मिला है हमसे, हमारे साथ वॉकिंग किया है, फिर हमारा फोटो खींचा था ये ऊपर का, और उसी वक्त एक फ़ोटो भी दे के गया था हमको, तो उसी फ़ोटो को लेते हुए ये हमको फिर आ गया मेरे पास। ये तो भगवान जाने। कैसे पड़ी रहेगी जब सब फोटो को हमने फेंक दिया इसी का तो पड़ा रह गया मेरे पास.
Yeah, tomorrow morning time I can meet you here. I'll come here and I'll meet you, and then we'll go out in the boat.
We've all been rowing around on the Ganges River since about 5 a.m. looking for a spot for my photo. I think now we finally found the place.
And row with both hands. Brad, you just watch what you're doing there. Just get it up higher.
Are you nervous about your camera?
Yes, camera is in this underwater housing, which is probably reliable, but it's still going in filthy, nasty water, and I'm really nervous that some water is going to seep in there, and me and Joey aren't going to be friends anymore.
So Joey's about to get hepatitis or something from this river.
Okay, good. And then look here. All the photo setups that I did with Baba Vijay were actually quite demanding on him. I had him rowing his boat down the Ganges. I had him in the water wet. And these are all things that were really 3 years in the making. I don't think I could have got him to do those things if I had not made that connection years ago. I don't think he would have trusted me enough. But because of that, I think the photos turned out good, and I was able to see a more developed side of him. Whenever I photograph somebody, one of my main challenges is always presenting them with a sense of dignity. I photograph what people would consider a lot of ancient subjects, so tribes that have been living in ways that they have for thousands of years, or a religious sect like Agori. People would consider that a lot of old cultural stuff. But I think the way that I actually take the picture and the way that I photograph, in the sense of using like lights and the stylistic elements and the way that the picture looks is very modern. So in a way, what I want to do is present them as if they're living in the 21st century, because they are.
I think one of the unique things about the way that Joey and Cale and I work together is that everything is very simple. Everything Cale shoots, he has in his backpack. Everything Joey and I use is in one bag of Joey's and a backpack of mine. Very simple and very slow and methodical. And I think that's why the results of things we get in both video and Joey's photos are so special, because no one really does that. It's not going out with a camera and taking a bunch of snapshots and picking the best ones out of 200. It's you're trying to get one photo a day, and that's a good day.
And I think it's important not to always show people in a journalistic way of what they're doing, but more show a portrait of them and a portrait of what they're about.
I remember one day we were at the top of one palace and looking down, and I was like, Joey, come over here, look at this. And there's just a human skull right in the middle of a path where people are just walking. And a woman's just sweeping. No one even paid any attention to it, nothing. I mean, it's so hard for stuff like that to register in my head. It was almost funny. That was in like America, there'd be like cops and FBI and a crime scene, but there it's a human skull.
Never in any place that I've traveled have I seen death put out in front of you so much as it is in Varanasi. There's a few burning ghats, which is basically cremation grounds. Hindus make pilgrimages from all around the country to give funerals for their loved ones. They burn the bodies and it's all public. You can see the corpses burning right there. The weird thing about it is it's a bit haunting, but it's once you get over the fact that like I'm seeing a dead burning body here, there's something about it that's not scary anymore, and it's just kind of like really normal, and it just kind of makes you realize how temporary life is. One of my favorite things that I photographed on this trip were these kids training to be Brahmin priests. And whether they choose to go down that path when they get older or not doesn't matter, but they're all enrolled in school and kind of learning about meditation and learning about Hinduism. So every morning their ritual is they get up, they do yoga together, they do breathing exercises, and one of the weirder things they do is they get out all the tension in their bodies just by doing a big epic laugh. And one of the mornings when I was walking around photographing them, you could see kind of like dark storm clouds starting to come our way, and it was just timed perfectly to their evil laugh. And as soon as they started doing this like ha 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 ha, it started lightning and flashing and thundering everywhere, and it was really like, it was just really weird. Started raining, all the kids started running back to their school, taking shelter, and I think me and Ryan and Cale just stood there and were kind of like a little bit dumbfounded as to what we saw.
You know, we're only here for so long. Once we get back home, it's done. And I just want to make the most out of this trip as possible. I want to get the most quality photographs. I want to have the most experiences, and I don't want to waste any time.
Vijay Nun invites us over for dinner in his ashram.
Vijay Nun asked us to dinner, which, cool experience, yes, but the thought of eating that food...
Cale and I are both a little hesitant to go over and eat with him because we're both not feeling that well. We're super tired, and we're not quite sure what kind of food he's going to make us. When we get there, we see how this food is being prepared. It's being cooked on a fire made of cow dung, and the food is put into like a big bowl, and he's just mashing it all together with his hands that are covered in mud. His nails are filled with dirt and everything.
Not that hungry. He's little bit hungry, just a little bit.
Joey's pressuring us like, oh no, just eat, it'll be fine. And we're all kind of laughing and looking at Joey. We're like, oh yeah, it'll be very good. It's going to be awesome. And I was thinking to myself that this guy's hands are visibly dirty.
My thought process was, okay, I eat this food and then I get really sick. I have a bug. I could be out for a week. I could be out for 3 or 4 days. Equals sickness for everyone.
Here comes the chapati.
The cleanest this guy gets is when he bathes in the Ganges River.
Wait, that's not the best part yet. Oh. Here we go. We have tonight a lovely chapati.
And Joey's just hammering down this food, you know, trying to be polite. And Cale and I are just basically mashing it around on our plates to make it look like we ate more than we did.
There's no way convincing Ryan to eat that food. He meshed it around as well as I did. I only ate the bread.
So while Joey's eating, he's going, oh yeah, it's good, don't worry. I get woken up in the middle of the night by the sound of Joey throwing up into the toilet. And Cale and I just kind of look at each other and look at Joey. Don't say anything, but just kind of, it was obvious we're looking at him as to say like, well, I told you so.
I mean, Joey did it. Joey still did it. He got sick, but luckily he was only sick for a day and right back in the game.
So the next day I go up to his room, huge smirk on my face, walk in the door, and just start going on and on about how good dinner was last night and how happy I was we went and everything like that, while Joey's kind of looking at me with a straight face, like throwing up into a bucket.
I feel like poo-poo.
Unfortunately, Joey got sick, but Ryan didn't give him too hard a time about it.
Oh, I'm Joey. I'm so cultured. I can eat whatever. I eat what the Saudis eat. And oh, now look at me, like puking in the toilet. I don't know.
Our daily ritual is quite intense. We've been waking up every day around 4:30 when the streets are completely empty, walking with all our gear, sometimes for miles, to where we're going to shoot, and then setting up, photographing as the sun rises, staying out in the heat all day, working on the video or making more photographs, and then at night coming back to where we're staying and going to bed and doing it all over again.
I don't really want to go to that restaurant.
You can make contact.
Alright, well let's walk that way anyway. We'll try and what's that?
I want to go back to the hotel at some point. Just to chill.
Yeah. Let's walk that way while those lights get. We'll go.
I don't want to go to that restaurant right now though. It takes too long. It's like 7 now.
Sorry?
It's too early for that restaurant.
Which restaurant?
The one in the main gap.
But there they give fast food, no? Because there is no lot of people.
Yeah, but I want to eat chicken. And I can see Joey in the shadow. About getting punched in the balls.
You're gonna get into like little arguments or little fights or something like that. And I mean, especially when you're on trips and you're really tired or really hungry or just generally like frustrated, you're out in the sun, we're sleeping in the same room, we're only talking to each other, we're hanging out all day, you're bound to butt heads at some point in time.
You hear that, Ryan? More chai tea.
Your favorite? I like chai. I just don't like chai 50 times a day. I like chai 50 times a day. I'm okay with it. Don't make me hit you in this ashtray.
Me, Ryan, and Cale, we all fight and we all bicker, but we're not really like that, and we can resolve all our problems amongst ourselves. And I think being friends really helps that, because even if we don't agree on something professionally, and even if we don't agree on something stylistically, we still have our base as friends.
Another issue is that all three of us have our own personal issues going on outside of what we do together on these trips. I was in school at the time. I was actually missing my exams. I had debt from being in school. I just quit my job to go on this trip. I mean, when you're on these trips, you're obviously living kind of day to day. You're living in the moment. You're trying to take in as much as you can. And when it's good, and you really enjoy the trip. You really enjoy what's happening. But in the bad moments, or the moments when things aren't running that smoothly, you always have this cloud hanging over your head of, oh, school and money and, you know, my job and things like that. But at the end of the day, when I look back at this trip in 20 years, I'm not going to remember the fact that I missed my exams. I'm not going to remember the fact that I was in debt. I'm not going to remember the fact that I quit my bullshit job at the time. But I'm going to remember that I traveled around the world with two of my best friends and saw some amazing things and experienced some amazing cultures that not a lot of people get to see and not a lot of people get to do. But in the bigger picture, these trips and these new experiences are what matters. It's not the little things at home that at the time seem big but are nothing in the grand scheme of your life.
I think it's crazy we're actually here.
The fact that I just kind of forgot about everything back home and said, okay, let's do this, and that's why I get to experience these things.
I was really bummed that Ryan's time with us on the trip was up. I completely understand that he had prior obligations and he really needed to get home.
Ryan is an extremely valuable asset to my photography. Although he's just holding a light, what he does being around helps quite a lot.
40 hours, I'll be home. It's hard to leave a trip early because although you're happy to get home, you're always thinking about like, oh, what are Cale and Joey going to get into? What kind of stuff are they going to see that I'm not? And what's going to happen when I'm gone? Simply, I mean, you're just sad to leave your friends, and you're gonna miss hanging out with them in such a crazy place, but like it was planned for me to go home that day, so I just had to get on the train and leave.
One of the main reasons why Cale and I decided to stay for an extra week was so we could stay for the Maha Shivratri festival, which basically translates into Night of Shiva. Everybody is drinking Bong Lassi, which is a marijuana milkshake. We didn't really know what to expect. We'd seen some pictures before, but it was absolutely crazy.
I really had no idea what to expect. It was chaos. It was simply chaos.
We went to the public square where there were like thousands of people gathered, and we watched the parade come down the street, and just the excitement from the local people and just how into it everybody was kind of caught on to us, and we got sucked into a few disco dances, and I think we really enjoyed ourselves.
It just turned into a massive party. I mean, they even had floats that were beggar floats, and bands with huge generators that are broken and spitting flames out the side, floats with monkeys on them chained to sadhus, putting cobras in your face asking for donations. I mean, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like it. Me and Joey, just about every float that passed, we looked at each other and started cracking up laughing, because a part of me is just like, I would love to see that back home and see people's reactions, but just being there and like knowing we're just totally engulfed in our surroundings and we're in it. It was just a fantastic feeling, and I know it's something me and Joey will never forget.
Mahashivratri, the night of Shiva, is actually a very auspicious time for a Hindu, and it's an auspicious time for a pilgrim to bathe in the Ganges River. So, of course, for my Holy Men series, that's why we timed us going there at that time, because there are a lot of sadhus around. So leading up to that night, a couple days before, I found a lot of photo subjects.
I will tell you one example. If you have an extreme mission where you can walk around the world, you see everyone, only skeletons walking. You can't find who is men, women, nothing. So from the point of God, we are all like that. So we look people also the same way. And see son, he's a friend of the whole world. He doesn't say, I am your enemy, I cannot come to your house. Even though you are any enemy, you are a friend, he comes to everyone. Just like that, we should also be. Showing brightness to everyone. This world was created for peace. We have to be peace. There should be peace, not violence. People just, they are becoming more aggressive. That should not be there. We have to love nature, and nature will love us. Otherwise, one or the other way, nature will take over us. So we have to think that we are all one and be